You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, school is getting closer and closer, but the 4 states continues to face a bus driver shortage.
Also, Joplin firefighters fight a blaze that engulfed a house very quickly.
And we've got ourselves a relatively pleasant start across the 4 states. However, the summer temperatures are making a return. We'll take a look at that forecast coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy.
I'm Chris Warner. It is just after 7 a.m. on this Thursday morning. We are getting that much closer to
The
Friday.
weekend. Right.
Well, the weekend too. Yeah, that's also after Friday.
I just loop them all together.
Let's do it. You know, let's just do the 4-day week. We'll just take off after this.
A lot of schools are actually doing that.
I know,
and it
that
is
is
back
becoming
to school
a thing.
season.
Yeah.
So the 4 states area, as much of the country, is actually dealing with a shortage of school bus drivers.
And as the school year approaches, local officials are concerned about unexpected but not unfamiliar situations. KOAM's Fernanda Silva has the story.
Jared Richmond is the Director of Transportation at the Carl Junction School District. But next week, when the new semester starts, he will also take on another role.
The first day, I will probably be driving a bus. Our mechanics can both drive, so we do our best to get as many routes as we can get out there.
The reason for that? There are not enough school bus drivers. Just a couple of days from the beginning of the school year, Carl Junction schools were able to fill all the seats for full-time bus drivers. But their concern is that it's been almost a year since they last had an application for a substitute position. Jamie Guerrero is one of the new hires of the district.
It was very quick. I applied. They called me the next day. I came in the day after that.
But this is not her first time in working in a school bus, which makes the process easier.
Just because you hire somebody today doesn't mean they can start today, because obviously most people don't ever have a CDL before they apply with us, and that could be, it's a minimum of 2 weeks, if not 30 to 60 days to get your CDL license from start to finish.
Pittsburgh schools also share the concern. They also have a hard time hiring for substitute positions.
We have times where, for example, maybe a bus driver's sick or has an appointment and they're able to drive.
The solution for that is encouraging other schools professionals to get behind the wheels.
Times where teachers are, for example, finished with their class day and they may be going to an activity anyway, or a coach. We can use those as a bus driver to and from that location if they're going. And it also gives them the opportunity to maybe have a little bit more spending money.
Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
The local school districts are not alone. According to USA Today, a survey conducted by Hipscop Drive shows that 92% of education and transportation leaders report their operations are constrained by the driver shortages. Both Carl Junction and Pittsburgh school districts are taking applications for substitute bus drivers.
They also support the chosen candidates with paid trainings. If you want more information, if you'd like to be a bus driver, you can find that information on our website at koamnewsnow.com. So an opportunity, you can still make a difference in kids' lives even as a bus driver. I had some fantastic bus drivers when I was a kid.
I did too. They were like family. You see them every morning. That's how you start your day.
Exactly. And when you're done with the school day, the first face you see is that smiling, friendly face of the bus driver.
That's true.
Now, don't get me wrong, we had a couple of not so great bus drivers, but most of them were phenomenal. So go make a difference. You have that chance. We do so, but we're here and we can't drive the buses while we're on air.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. But what we can do while we're on air is tell you about the weather, and it is going to start to heat up. We're a bit warmer than where we were yesterday, sitting at 68 in Joplin. As you can see, we've got sunny skies out there. Temperatures around the region still hovering in the 60s. 67 in Fort Scott, Chanute, 65 Neodesha, Parsons, Chetopa, 64 Pittsburgh, 66 Miami, and 69 now in Neosho. Now, as we get our morning started, we will have the mostly clear skies and a bit warmer than yesterday. If you may recall, we were looking at low 70s by late morning. Well, this morning we're looking at the upper 70s, and we are going to be hot today, but we're going to be seasonably hot. We're going to be right about where we should be as we go back to the upper 80s and lower 90s across the area. So it is going to be hot. It's definitely going to feel hot, but it's going to be about where we should be with those partly cloudy skies. As we head into the evening, we are looking at the overnight lows back into the low 60s. We'll have mostly clear skies as well going through the evening hours. And as we look ahead, we got near average temperatures tomorrow, low 90s, and then this weekend, if you've got plans this weekend, make sure you're taking precautions. Temperatures soar upper 90s near 100, and we hang on to the upper 90s for the first half at least of next week. Caitlin?
Thanks, Chris. Well, firefighters fight a blaze that spread quickly through a small house in Joplin. Calls of a structure fire came into Joplin at 911 around 9:40 p.m. at 1209 South Iowa Street. Joplin Fire, Police, and EMTs responded. Upon arrival, Joplin Fire saw the blaze from the rear end of the single-story structure. The department utilized a defensive attack due to the fact that the fire spread so quickly through the structure. The house was found to be empty upon initial search of it. This is a developing story, and we'll have more information as it becomes available on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. And a tragedy in Wichita, Kansas. An elementary school student is dead after she was hit by a bus. Police say the 8-year-old girl was waiting for her school bus when she darted out between two cars and was hit by a different bus coming through the neighborhood.
If you're a parent or even have these conversations with your children that we're going to have increased activity with the buses on the roads now that school's begun, and just in general to have those discussions with your children about entering the roadway at any time.
The girl's name has not yet been released, and the accident is under investigation. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly announced yesterday that an additional $1 million will go toward efforts to combat the effects on the ongoing drought. This amount is in addition to the $3.5 million distributed each year for similar conservation efforts. The funds will go towards erosion reduction, promotion of water conservation, and to mitigate the effects of the ongoing drought. This additional funding comes as the U.S. Department of Agriculture projects that the wheat harvest will be 122 million bushels short of the state's 330 million bushel average. Up next, dengue fever strikes in Florida, causing the State Department to put a Florida county under an illness alert.
And later, a man who has become a TikTok star and a beloved figure in his town is honored by that town. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Be right back after this. But first, hey, look, it's Main Street in downtown Joplin. And why are we there? Well, you see, tonight is Third Thursday.
Topping Health Watch, officials in Florida are issuing another health alert for the mosquito-borne dengue illness as cases continue on the rise. The state's Department of Health has now placed Broward County, which includes Fort Lauderdale, under an illness alert, becoming the second after Miami-Dade to be warned about the spread of the viral infection. Although the illness is known to spread along people who travel to other countries, officials know of 10 cases of the virus transmitted within the Sunshine State. The mosquito-transmitted virus is also known as breakbone fever for the fever, muscle aches, and joint pains associated with it. And children who actively play sports could be swelling, bruising, sprains, and strains, but how can parents tell when those injuries are more serious? Dr. Michael DeKay with Cleveland Clinic says some injuries might be worse than parents think. He says an injury that seems like a sprain could actually be a fracture. He says that's because children's ligaments are stronger than their bones, making them more vulnerable to getting a fracture. Dr. DeKay says if an injury is not responding to treatment at home within a day or two, parents should seek medical evaluation. When it comes to concussions, Dr. DeKay says it can be hard to tell since the symptoms are broad. And about 1 in 10 middle and high school students reported using e-cigarettes in a 2022 national survey, despite the fact that U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says vaping is unsafe for kids, teens, and young adults. A new study shows serious respiratory symptoms may not take long to appear after a young person starts using e-cigarettes. Mandy Gaither has a look at the research and what one of the study's authors wants people to take away from it.
The health risks of long-term e-cigarette use are still being studied, but new research is shining a light on the impact on the respiratory health of young people.
E-cigarettes are by no means risk-free. E-cigarettes carry a potential respiratory risk.
Elena Tackett and her colleagues carried out a study looking at symptoms young people reported in school-based surveys after about a month of e-cigarette use.
In this study, we found that past 30-day e-cigarette use was associated with symptoms of shortness of breath and symptoms of bronchitis.
Those symptoms were reported after e-cigarette use regardless of the use of cannabis, traditional cigarettes, or secondhand smoke exposure, which Tackett says signals that vaping is harmful on its own.
Any young person who's not using any other products really should be aware and make a thoughtful choice before initiating e-cigarette use.
The CDC says most e-cigarettes contain nicotine, which is highly addictive and can also harm the developing brain of a young person and impact their ability to pay attention, learn, control impulses, and have a negative effect on their mood.
The researchers are now going beyond getting information from surveys and studying biomarkers from young participants to look at daily e-cigarette use and how it affects lung function.
And we've got ourselves a relatively decent start to the day out there. Nice temperatures, plentiful sunshine, but the summer heat is on its way back. We're taking a look at that forecast when we come back. And coming up, Adele helps out a couple reveal their baby's gender. That sounds pretty exciting. We'll be right back with that story as well. But first, there's another live look from downtown Joplin, as tonight is Third Thursday. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. On this Thursday morning, it is now 7:16 a.m. and this is a live look at the MoDOT camera at US 60, Missouri 59, south side of Neosho, looking back toward Lusk Drive, toward the west. Looks pretty good. Well, you take a look at the MoDOT camera at 20th and Range Line. That's zoomed in and looking to the south, and so you can see it's looking pretty good as well. It's wobbling a little bit. We've had some breezy conditions here the last few days, but thankfully nothing to write home about, but just a nice breeze out there. And that breeze is ushering in warmer temperatures. KDOT camera 69 East 520th Avenue showing us a beautiful day, and so is our man, that is a lot of cars. Our camera, 7th and Range Line, showing us these completely clear skies right now. We're sitting at 68, so a little bit warmer than where we have been here lately. And as we look at temperatures around the area, it's not bad, though. I mean, yeah, it's warmer in the last couple of days, but it's not bad. 65, Iola, 64, Pittsburgh, 65, Parsons, Neodesha, Chatopa, 66, Miami, 67 in Carthage, and 69 in Neosho. As we get our morning started, we've got those mostly clear skies, a little bit warmer into the upper 70s by late morning, and it's going to be hot today, but it's going to be seasonably hot as we go upper 80s, lower 90s. Some of us may see some partly cloudy skies out there. And as we head into the evening, we clear back out. We're still mild, not bad overnight though, a little cooler, back into the lower 60s. And tomorrow, still right around average, maybe a little above as we go into the low 90s, partly cloudy skies. Unfortunately, the summer heat returns as we head into the weekend. So if you've got some weekend plans, you got to make sure you're taking precautions out there. Highs right around 99 degrees. Wouldn't be surprised if some of us manage to hit 100. And we're going to hold on to the upper 90s as we head into the next work week. Well, he's a World War II veteran with more than 700,000 followers on TikTok. Now, Jake Larson is enjoying what he calls one of the highlights of his life after his hometown paid him tribute. Greg Chapman reports.
Jake Larson says he is just a country boy, born on a farm and raised with no running water or electricity.
This is one of the highlights of my life.
Jake is being honored for service to country. It all began by telling a little fib.
I joined the National Guard right here in Owatonna in 1938. I was 15 years old.
Jake gained rank quickly, rising from the lowest infantry soldier to one of the highest.
I got in on the planning the invasion. I got the Bronze Star for my planning. Every person that landed on D-Day came through these fingers.
Jake talks vividly about his war experience, but his story was interrupted, and rightfully so, by family.
We're Shirley Moore's daughters.
Hi.
Oh, yes.
Hi. My great uncle.
You ever watch me on TikTok?
Oh, yeah.
Jake is known by many as Papa Jake, a TikTok sensation with more than 700,000 followers. Hundreds came to hear him in person, including this special guest.
I worked in California first. I put the riveters in B-17.
Helen worked in the factories replacing the men who joined the military, like Jake, who says he is the luckiest man in the world.
I went through 6 battles. I landed on Omaha Beach on D-Day. Walked through a minefield.
But he still insists that he is not a hero.
But those guys that gave their life so that I could make it, they're the hero. They're right up now, listening right now.
Certainly an impressive story, and Jake, Papa Jake there, an impressive man. So we have to go check him out on TikTok if you haven't already. Well, coming up, Webb City teachers are returning, and there are some new ones out there, and they're going to return to the district for training. Well, a couple from Newburgh, New York enjoyed the gender reveal of a lifetime recently.
Courtesy of none other than superstar recording artist Adele. Marcus Solis reports.
Have been waiting for this moment. A moment that Chantel Lord and Chris Dare will never forget. That's Adele, yes, superstar singer Adele, about to tell them and the world that
Chantel and Chris are having a baby boy.
Saturday, the couple from Newburgh attended Adele's concert in Las Vegas. Signs aren't allowed, so they cleverly brought in a folded-up, custom-made flag that caught Adele's attention.
She was like, oh my God, I would love to do a gender reveal. And she's, bring them down, bring them down.
I said, let's go, let's go. And she said, do you have the envelope?
That's so emotional, oh my God. This will be the couple's first child, and wanting to be surprised, they had the sex of the baby written on a Post-it note and placed in an envelope that remained sealed until the mother of all reveals.
We're incredibly happy. Yeah. It's a boy.
Yeah, it's a boy.
Yeah, it's going to be a very blessed baby boy.
As we're walking back up, you see people wiping their tears away. And that was like a wholesome moment for us, because it was like, this is our baby. People are crying for us.
Chantel is a nurse. Chris is a magician.
You see what it is? It's a Jack of Hearts.
Who blew my mind, but it's video of the reveal that's blown up with millions of views.
Thank you. I was so honored to do that. That was so lovely.
Of a magical night indeed.
That is awesome.
That is one cool gender reveal, I'll tell you that much.
Certainly is. Ours was not as exciting. We got the envelope from the doctor, and we went to the car, and we opened it in the car.
Oh,
but it was still exciting for us. Adele may not have been there to do it, but it was still exciting. I'm talking years ago. I'm not expecting any additional children. We're fine.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks for clarifying. Well, and coming up, McDonald County hosts a job fair to help out those in need of a new job as the Tyson plant is closing in October.
And we've got, again, a really nice start to the day. However, summer heat is back. We're going to take a look at that forecast when we come back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:27 a.m. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy. New and returning Webb City teachers and faculty returned to the classroom yesterday for some back-to-school training. Teachers and faculty were briefed on new safety strategies and school policies, and they say this is an annual event that occurs to make sure teachers, faculty, and staff members are prepared for the new year.
Today they're learning about teamwork, really, is what they're doing. We did a lot of different activities that we don't normally do. We had brief opening session, and then we allowed them to go with their teams and play different games. We had axe throwing, we were teaching how to shoot an arrow. They played board games, they had lawn games.
Webb City kicks off the school year on Monday. And the city of Fort Scott held a business expo yesterday at the community college. Local businesses displayed the services they offer and promoted some job openings. The expo also gave the community college a chance to show support for its students.
We do the Business Expo really so we can show the students the kind of support that they would have from our local community as they're going to school here. We do have a lot of students that are not originally from Bourbon County or even from one of our surrounding areas.
The expo ran from 8 to 11:30 yesterday morning. Tyson workers who will lose their jobs come this October were shown a ray of hope yesterday as the McDonald County Chamber of Commerce put on a job fair. The job fair had almost 40 potential employers in attendance, all of whom are ready to give the people in Knoll a place to land. However, the job fair wasn't exclusive for Tyson workers and encouraged anyone looking for a fresh start to attend.
Granted, the Tyson is the predominant discussion on everybody's mind right now.
But there's always people that are looking to better themselves, looking to maybe change careers, change jobs. So our thought was, let's help everybody. Let's just, obviously this started because of Tyson, but it doesn't mean that we can't help other people.
City officials in Knoll are still working on a plan to get a new business to take over the plant.
We've got ourselves a pretty decent start across the area. Sunny skies out there, nice temperatures. However, the summer heat does begin to return. It's going to start today, but it's not going to be too excessive just yet. We've got mostly clear skies through the morning, warming into the upper 70s. And as we head into the afternoon, it's going to be hot. We're talking upper 80s, low 90s, but that's right about where we should be for this time of year. Some of us may see some partly cloudy skies, and then we will clear out again as we head through the evening hours. It'll be a little bit milder through the evening. And once we head overnight, we're back to the cool temperatures at least once more, dropping back into the lower 60s. Now tomorrow we're still low 90s, so right at or slightly above average. Unfortunately, as we head into the weekend and next week, temperatures really take off. We're talking upper 90s near 100. So if you do have some plans this weekend, and there's a lot of different festivals and events going on Friday into Saturday and then Saturday into Sunday as well, you need to make sure you're taking precautions, stay hydrated, take breaks out there, because even if the heat index value isn't super high, 100-degree heat is still fairly dangerous out there. And again, we will continue with the upper 90s all the way through at least Wednesday of next week. Caitlin?
College students are back on campus, and for international students at Pitt State, the welcome comes in the form of fried chicken. Students were brought to Trinity Baptist Church, where they were invited to mingle with other students and served a free meal. KOAM's Anthony Saviallo got the chance to talk with a few students and get a look into how they feel studying in the U.S.
What's your name?
My name's Agawin.
Where are you from?
I'm from Nepal.
You're from Nepal?
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the biggest difference living in Nepal as opposed to being here in the U.S.?
Well, in the U.S., I live alone.
But in Taiwan, everything's small. It's really tiny, and when we go to the restaurant, we just have to walk 5 minutes. And the convenience store is everywhere.
The Trinity Baptist Church is only one of the many organizations and businesses that play host to these students every semester. And there's a new internet service provider in Nevada, Missouri. Fastwire Broadband yesterday held a ribbon cutting to launch their service. Officials say it'll help bring Nevada fast, reliable internet.
So Nevada, Vernon County is such a rural community. We haven't had something like this, really had the opportunity to grow that. And so this will, I think, will be something that will extend people's businesses, extend people's communication to bigger cities, just help everybody in the community.
Fastwire provides internet to other locations in Missouri, Nebraska, Louisiana, and Alabama. The Southwest Missouri Democrats yesterday held a town hall to discuss labor issues. The keynote speaker was Liz Wirtz from Missouri Jobs with Justice. Some of the topics discussed were increasing the minimum wage and mandating sick leave.
The right of workers to earn paid time off, as well as an incremental increase in the minimum wage in Missouri. This is an issue that's very important in our area in particular, because while Southwest Missouri doesn't see the rise that you see in the East Coast or the West Coast, prices have gone up, rent has gone up, wages have not kept pace, and it's very difficult for folks to make ends meet here.
The town hall happened at the Community Service Center of Joplin. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. All thanks to Jay-Z and hip hop, the New York Library sees its number of membership go up.
And as mentioned, we've got a beautiful start to the day, but the summer heat will begin to return. We'll take a look at that forecast when we come back. But first, we got ourselves another live look from downtown Joplin, as today is Third Thursday. Well, New Yorkers are flocking to a local library in droves to get memberships. The reason? It's hosting the new Jay-Z exhibit. Hannah Kleiger has the reason why everyone wants to have a part of the book of, I'm not really sure, of display.
On a weekday afternoon, the library buzzes with hip-hop fans.
Jay-Z, I've been a fan
since the beginning, since '96, and I had to come and see it.
Chanel Page is one of more than 14,000 new patrons who have signed up for library cards since July 14th. That's when the new Jay-Z exhibit premiered.
Come on, man, born and raised, you know, love Jay-Z.
Lyrics from his songs adorn the outside of the Art Deco building, and inside the institution, fans can find artwork, music, and memorabilia.
We thought that in this, the 50th anniversary of hip-hop, it would be the ideal year to be doing something in honor of Jay-Z. And we were just fortunate that the people at his company, Rock Nation, were thinking along the same lines.
But there is a part of the exhibit fans can take home as a souvenir, and it's these limited edition library cards, 13 designs featuring cover art from the artist's solo albums.
The cards are now sort of becoming a collector's item. You need to travel around to different branches in order to get all 13, and that's great too, because we want people to understand that it's not just at Central Library that we have a lot of stuff.
Definitely trying to collect it. You never know what the value will be in a couple of years.
While card sign-ups are free for those living in New York, fans outside the state have been hoping to get their hands on them too. Complete sets are popping up on eBay for upwards of $1,000.
Why not get something out of it as far as, you know, renewing your library card or getting one for the first time?
The exhibit and the collectibles have encouraged nearly 176,000 visitors to Central Library since the debut a month ago. That's more than double the 77,000 visitors that came the entire month of June.
We didn't know exactly what to expect, and I think the first few days we were kind of in shell shock.
The library is one of several New York City institutions which is highlighting artists for the 50th anniversary of hip-hop.
Well, the Jay-Z exhibit will be open for several more weeks. Well, coming up, we'll have how many millionaires were shed in the year 2022, and we're going to take another look at that forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, 7:40 now on this Thursday morning. We're going to take a quick tour around the 4 states, see how things are looking. And that's the nice thing, at least right now, they look great. We've got clear skies out there. The sun is shining. And on the MoDOT camera, it's 60, US 60 and Missouri 59, south side of Neosho. We are looking great there. We're also looking great from the MoDOT camera at 20th and Rangeline in Joplin. You can see now it's zoomed in, so that wobble is not nearly as extreme as it may seem. But we have had some breezy conditions the last couple of days. But again, thankfully, nothing to really write home about, just a nice breeze. KDOT camera 69 East 520th Avenue, just south of Pittsburgh, also showing us this beautiful day. And how beautiful is it out there? Well, as we start, we're already up to 70 now in Joplin. Our dew point humidity up there, so we're looking at very, very weak heat index values for today. But as we head into the weekend, that could change. Temperatures around the area, again, beginning to warm up. We've got 68 Miami, 66 Pittsburgh, Chanute, and Yates Center, 65 Neodesha, Parsons, Independence, 66 Neosho, 69 Carthage, and 64 in Monette. As we go through the morning, we'll have those mostly clear skies warming into the upper 70s by late morning. And as we head into the afternoon, could see some partly cloudy skies for a few of us, otherwise not bad, and we start to go into the upper 80s and lower 90s. So today is hot, and it's hotter than where it has been, but that's right about where we should be for this time of year. As we head into the evening, a nice warm evening going on, and then as we go overnight, we're looking at clear skies, lows back into the lower 60s, and as we look ahead, we're still hot again tomorrow, maybe just a pinch above average in the low 90s. Unfortunately, though, as we go into Saturday, Sunday, and into next week, we've got temperatures upper 90s near 100 degrees. So if you've got anything going on this weekend, you got to make sure you're taking precautions, stay hydrated, take breaks out there, because even without a significant heat index value, 100-degree temperature is still potentially dangerous. We'll hold on to the upper 90s through at least Wednesday. Then we see some thunderstorm chances and slightly cooler temperatures by Thursday and Friday of next week. That is a check of your forecast. Now we're going to send it over to Caitlin for a check of Consumer Watch.
Thanks, Chris. In Consumer Watch this morning, YouTube is stepping up its efforts to stamp out medical misinformation on its platform. The company says it is now removing false claims about cancer treatments. This includes content promoting unproven treatments or therapies that have already been deemed harmful by health authorities. A common false claim is that patients should take vitamin C instead of radiation therapy. The restrictions are already in effect. Enforcement will be ramped up in the coming weeks with both human and automated moderation reviews. Grocery giant Aldi is buying roughly 400 Winn-Dixie and Harvey supermarket stores in the Southeast. Those chains are currently owned by parent company Southeastern Grocers. The 400 stores are in Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, and Mississippi. Some of them will be converted to Aldi locations, while others will continue operating as Winn-Dixie and Harvey supermarket stores. The deal was announced Wednesday. Aldi CEO Jason Hart says the acquisition will deliver quality products and lower prices to consumers. According to Aldi's news release, that deal is expected to close in the first half of 2024. The world now has about 3.5 million fewer millionaires. In its annual Global Wealth Report, Credit Suisse and UBS's reported that the grand total of the private wealth in the world last year was down more than $454 trillion. The 2.4% drop was due to climbing interest rates and high inflation rates. According to the report, that left only about 60 million millionaires. The U.S. alone lost nearly 2 million millionaires. The report says the top 1% of households still hold a staggering 44.5% of all global wealth. That's down just slightly from 45.6% in 2021. Much of the country may have the record-setting hot summer temperatures on their minds, but travel experts say now is the time to think about the winter and book flights for holiday travel. Jen Sullivan has 5 tips to lock in cheap prices on your airline tickets.
Summer is still in full swing, and the last thing on many people's minds are the winter holidays. But if you're planning to fly to your destination this 2023, travel experts say now is the best time to book flights.
And the reason why is, think about it like you're buying a winter coat. When do those tend to go on sale? In the summertime. It's the same thing with those winter flights.
Travel expert Scott Keyes has 5 tips to lock in the cheapest prices on your airline tickets. 1. Check if it's cheaper to book 2 one-way flights instead of just 1 round-trip flight, even if it means booking with 2 separate airlines.
Searching for one-way flights and comparing the price against the round-trip flight is going to be in your best interest. You can sometimes save $100 or $200 just by doing that.
2. Use your points or miles. Kai says you can often get a good deal during the peak holiday travel season. Kai says one way to know if you're getting a good deal with points is to get at least 2 cents per point. 3. Check fares for nearby airports. Sometimes you'll find cheaper fares than at your destination airport. 4. If you're looking to travel internationally, consider traveling over Thanksgiving. Kai says that's the hidden best week of the entire year for overseas travel because most Americans are traveling domestically to see family. And finally, consider traveling on the actual holiday themselves.
Often see fares that are 30 or 40% cheaper than a few days before or a few days after.
We'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. Too many peacocks? Well, a Florida village has a new strategy.
Okay. Jeannie Moose sums it up with one word: vasectomies.
What's a Florida village to do when it's being overrun by peacocks? The answer is enough to make peacocks everywhere jumpy.
Vasectomies for peacocks? That's the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard in 43 years of raising peacocks.
So says this Iowa farmer who calls himself Mr. Peacock. But the exotic animal vet who will be performing peacock vasectomies in Florida thinks it's a win-win. The birth rate goes down.
The peacock retains his cockiness.
Still able to impress the ladies with his mating display of feathers. Many in South Florida have been squawking about peacocks because of their droppings, because of their loud noises, because they tend to attack their own reflections, damaging cars.
I mean, it's just bizarre.
So now the village of Pinecrest outside Miami will perform peacock vasectomies. Dr. Don J. Harris says snipping the tube that carries sperm is easy and quick work.
3 minutes, 0.3 per testicle.
And when the peacock wakes up,
He didn't know anything happened.
trappers will respond to residents' complaints and bring the chosen birds to Dr. Harris, who says the peacock's testosterone level will be unaffected. So the lady peacocks are not going to be disappointed.
Not at all. He'll still be just as hot as he ever was.
As for the peacocks, we can only imagine their reaction.
I'm a peacock! You gotta let me fly!
Or in this case, procreate. Jeannie Mose, CNN.
So when Bob Barker said spay and neuter your pets, I didn't realize that he included peacocks in that.
Apparently so.
It's a huge thing. Always bringing you the most important news for our viewers.
You could not have made it through your Thursday without knowing that there's a village in Florida that's going to be neutering peacocks, basically.
Exactly, Chris.
Okay,
Let's move along to weather.
Yeah, I'm a peacock. You gotta let me do the weather. That was terrible. I will never, ever do that again. But I will tell you about our forecast. And now I've choked myself up. It was just very emotional having to say that. All right, we are at 70 in Joplin. We've got sunny skies. It is a great start to our Thursday. We got 66 in Iola, Chanute, Yates Center, Pittsburgh 65, Neodesha, Parsons 68, Miami, so not a bad start. And as we get our morning started, we're going to hold on to these mostly clear skies and be a bit warmer going into the upper 70s by late morning. We're going to be kind of hot today, and we're going to get hotter as the weekend moves on. We'll take another look at that forecast and news you need to know right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Firefighters fight a blaze that spread quickly through a small house in Joplin. It was located at 1209 South Iowa Street and was reported at 9:40 last night. Joplin Fire Police and METS ambulance responded. Upon arrival, Joplin saw the fire blaze from the rear end of a single-story structure. The fire quickly spread through the structure, and the house was found to be empty upon initial search of it. A tragedy in Wichita, Kansas. An elementary student has died after she was hit by a bus. Police say the 8-year-old girl was waiting for her school bus when she darted out between two cars and was hit by a different bus coming through the neighborhood. Kansas Governor Laura Kelly announced yesterday that an additional $1 million will go toward efforts to combat the effects of the ongoing drought. This amount is in addition to the $3.5 million distributed each year from similar conservation efforts. The funds will go towards erosion reduction, promotion of water conservation, and to mitigate the effects of the ongoing drought. This additional funding comes as the U.S. Department of Agriculture projects that the wheat harvest will be 122 million bushels short of the state's 330 million bushel average. Tyson workers will lose their jobs come October. We're at a fair yesterday for the County Chamber of Commerce so they can help them to find a new job. All of them were ready to give the people in Knoll a place to land. However, the job fair wasn't exclusive for Tyson workers and encouraged anyone looking for a fresh start to attend. City officials in Knoll are still working on a plan to get a new business to take over the plant.
All right, as we head into our afternoon, we're looking at maybe some partly cloudy skies out there. Highs upper 80s, lower 90s, so hot, but right about where we should be. We'll stay warm and clear through the evening and clear overnight as well as we go back into the lower 60s. And then as we head into tomorrow, we're low 90s, so just a little above average. And then as we head into the weekend and next week, we're going upper 90s, close to 100 degrees. So if you're got any weekend plans or going to any festivals this weekend, make sure you're taking precautions, stay hydrated, and take breaks out there, because it's still going to be pretty darn hot.
All right, well, for some of us, every day is a good day for bargain shopping.
But Thursday presents an extra reason to go deal hunting because it's National Thrift Shop Day. It is observed every year on August the 17th. Thrift shops are known by many names: secondhand stores, charity shops, resale stores, and they're frequently operated by charitable organizations and sell gently used items.
But as any thrift store shopper knows, some of those donated items can be gems. It's a three-way win. You get a great deal, the store gets help with its charitable mission, and the environment benefits from having fewer items in landfills.
And I do enjoy going to a thrift store every so often because I have found some really nice and neat things. I go there mainly for like the electronics and stuff, but still, you find some pretty cool stuff there.
All right, I love that, Chris.
You should check one. We've got a few in town.
All right,
in the area.
I will.
We have a number. And they have great things, and they certainly help great causes. Well, thank you all so much for letting us put the good in your morning. We'll be back with more news and weather today at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.